Hi first graders, we're back with another mini lesson, and this week our focus is going to be on story elements. So story elements are the parts of a fictional story, and that's key. Story elements are only going to be found in fiction. So when we're talking about story elements, they're important because they help us retell a story. They let us talk about the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story. They also help us identify the main idea and the key details. So let's take a look at the different types of story elements we have. All right, our first one is going to be characters. So characters are the people, the animal, or even the things in a story. Let's take a look at some of our favorite storybook characters. So here we have Peter from Peter's Chair, who's also in A Letter to Amy and A Snowy Day. So he's a person or a character in the story. Then we've got the pigeon. That's an animal, so don't let the pigeon drive the bus, or don't let the pigeon stay up late. He's a character in the story. And last we have Otis, who's a thing. He's a tractor, but he's also a character in a story. So again, characters can be people, they can be animals, or they can be things. All right, let's go back now and talk about the next story element, which is setting. So setting is where and when a story takes place. So the first part is where, your house, the playground, a school, a bank. And when is the story happening? Is it happening right now, in the past, like yesterday or a few days ago, or in the future? Like, does your story take place in outer space with people living on Mars? After setting, we move to problem. So the problem is what's going wrong in the story, or something that needs to be fixed. So the problem usually causes trouble for the characters, and they need to fix it. By fixing it, that leads them to the solution. That's when the problem gets solved. All of these things are used to help us develop what's called plot. So knowing how a story begins, what's in the middle, and how it ends, that's all part of the plot. And that's why these story elements are important, because it's going to help us next week when we need to retell a story from beginning, middle, and end, and when we need to identify the main idea and the key details. So let's put that into practice here. So we know about our characters, we know about our setting, we know about our events. That's going to be the problem and the solution. And let's look at a story. All right, so in this story, we're going to read about Lucy here, and then we're going to be answering some questions. While I'm reading, I'm going to be thinking about who is the main character, and you'll see that often on tests. It asks you about main character. That's the most important character in the story, who the story is mostly about. I'm also going to be thinking about the setting, and then I'm going to be thinking about the events. So I'm just kind of previewing my questions here, so that way I can think while I'm reading about those topics. All right, Lucy loved the summer. She loved to play all day and night during the summer. This summer was different. There was a heat wave. Lucy could not be outside anymore. It was over 100 degrees. So this summer, Lucy decided to play in her cold basement. She read 4 chapter books. She beat 2 video games. She played board games with her brother all day. She couldn't wait until the heat wave was gone. All right, so I'm going to stop and start thinking. Remember, I'm listening for who is the main character. That's the most important character, the character that is mainly seen in the story. I'm thinking about the setting of the story, and I'm thinking about the events of the story. I'm going to read it one more time. Lucy loved the summer. She loved to play all day and night during the summer. This summer was different. There was a heat wave. Lucy could not be outside anymore. It was over 100 degrees. So this summer, Lucy decided to play in her cold basement. She read 4 chapter books. She beat 2 video games. She played board games with her brother all day. She couldn't wait until the heat wave was gone. All right, now let's try to answer these questions. If you've got a piece of paper, you can grab a pencil and a paper and answer along with me, or you can do it inside your head. So my first question says, who is the main character? So remember, the main character is who the story is mostly going to be about. They have a big presence in the story. So here I see Lucy. I see her name again here. So I'm thinking she's probably the main character, but let me look at my answer choices. I have Lucy's brother, I have the pool, I have the basement, and I have Lucy. So if I had to choose who is the main character, let's see if you agree with me. Write down what you think your answer would be. So who's the main character? A, Lucy's brother, B, the pool, C, the basement, or D, Lucy. All right, if I had to choose, it would be D, Lucy. Lucy is our main character. She's the one who the author speaks about mostly in this passage. All right, let's look at number 6 now. What is the setting of the story? And think back, setting talks about where and when a story takes place. So what is the setting? A, the pool, B, the basement, C, the backyard, D, Lucy's bedroom. So think for a moment and write your answer down. If I go back to the story, I'm remembering that Lucy loves summer, but it's really hot out, so she had to play in her cold basement. That's where she read, she played video games, and she played board games with her brother. So, what is the setting of the story? B, the basement. And now let's look at this last question. Which event does not happen in the story? And that's really important, that word not. That means it doesn't happen in the story. If I go back and I look, I can't find that piece of information in the text because it doesn't happen. So which one does not happen in the story? A, Lucy reads books. B, Lucy plays video games. C, Lucy eats pizza. D, Lucy played board games. All right, so let's look back in the story here while you think about your answer. Which one doesn't happen in the story? So if I go back, I see that she read chapter books, she plays video games, she played board games. As I look through all of these sentences again, I notice it doesn't say anything about pizza. So which event does not happen in the story? C, Lucy eats pizza. All right, boys and girls, now it's time to show us what you know. On your next few slides, you're going to be dealing with story elements, remembering those characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution. And remember, all those pieces help us retell a story beginning, middle, and end, and they help us with the main idea and the key details. So be sure to look for the characters, setting, problem, and solution in the next few slides that you are reading, and I will be back with another mini lesson later this week.